Imagine this. One song shakes the entire hip-hop world. Not just a diss track, but an anthem. A song so powerful it makes even the biggest names in the industry panic. And now, it's about to be performed at the biggest stage of them all, the Super Bowl. But one man is not having it. That man? Drake. And he's ready to fight back. Lawsuits, industry power plays, and behind-the-scenes drama. This is bigger than just music. This is war. If you think this is just another rap beef, think again. Let's break down how we got here and why Drake is reportedly trying to block Kendrick Lamar from performing Not Like Us at the Super Bowl. Drake versus Kendrick, the feud that led here. Drake and Kendrick, two of the biggest names in hip-hop, but their relationship? Complicated. It started off with mutual respect, collabs, and a sense of competition. Both were at the top of their game. Drake with his smooth, radio-friendly hits and Kendrick with his thought-provoking lyrical brilliance. For a time, it seemed like a healthy rivalry, pushing each other to new heights. But as the years went on, that competition morphed into something far more intense and personal. It all began in 2013 with Kendrick's legendary verse on Control. In it, Kendrick dropped Drake, among other major rappers, and declared himself the king of hip-hop. He wasn't just making a statement, he was throwing down a challenge. The bar had been set, and as expected, Drake, ever the competitor, wasn't going to let that slide. Drake's response wasn't immediate, but when it came, it was sharp. He sent subliminal shots Kendrick's way, leaving it clear that he wasn't backing down from the crown. The tension between them simmered beneath the surface, only increasing as they both dominated the charts in their own lanes. But things escalated further with the public debate about who truly was the big three in hip-hop, the new power trio of Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole. That debate alone fueled the fire, with both Kendrick and Drake trying to stake their claim as the true king. But when Kendrick dropped Not Like Us, that was the moment everything changed. This wasn't just a diss track, it was a direct assault on Drake's persona, his legacy, and his position in the industry. Kendrick didn't just throw shots, he dismantled Drake's image with precision. The track hit hard, dissecting everything from Drake's authenticity to his rise in the game. It wasn't just a challenge, it was a public takedown that would make anyone question their place at the top. The gloves were off, and in the hip-hop world, this wasn't just a feud, it was a full-on war. The song that shook the industry. Not Like Us wasn't just a track, it was a statement. The beat, the flow, the disrespect, it had everything. Kendrick's delivery was razor-sharp, his wordplay layered with precision. Every bar felt like a direct shot, and it wasn't just about lyrical mastery. It was about sending a message. Fans immediately declared it one of the hardest diss tracks of all time, a modern-day ether that would go down in history. Each verse didn't just hit, it landed with an impact that felt personal. Every lyric cut deep, painting Drake in a way that made it almost impossible for him to respond. Kendrick was painting a picture that made the stakes clear. Either Drake would fight back or accept being left behind in a world Kendrick had already taken control of. And the craziest part? The streets, the internet, and even celebrities backed Kendrick. This wasn't just a song, it became a cultural moment. People weren't just talking about the track, they were living it. The controversy behind the bars made it irresistible. Not Like Us was getting played at parties, in clubs, at basketball games. It was inescapable. From the East Coast to the West, it wasn't just a hit, it was an anthem. DJs were dropping it in the middle of sets, fans were chanting the lyrics, and it became a part of the conversation in every corner of pop culture. For Drake, this had to be a nightmare. The song wasn't just a diss, it was a seismic shift. Drake had prided himself on being the dominant force in hip-hop for years, but now, it felt like Kendrick was grabbing the spotlight with both hands, forcing him to the sidelines. Even worse, Kendrick wasn't just after Drake's career, he was targeting his very reputation, and the world was watching. It wasn't just a challenge, it was a direct challenge to everything Drake had built, and the pressure was on to respond. Drake's reaction, lawsuits and industry moves. At first, Drake stayed quiet. No response track, no public statement. He didn't want to engage directly in the back and forth. After all, he's known for letting his music speak for him. But behind the scenes, he wasn't just letting it slide. The quiet was deceptive, masking a simmering fury that was far from passive. Rumors began swirling, whispers that Drake was considering taking legal action against Kendrick. But what would be the basis of a lawsuit? The lyrics in Not Like Us weren't just harsh. They contained allegations that could be considered defamatory. In a business where your reputation is everything, Those kinds of public jabs weren't something Drake could ignore. The potential damage to his brand was significant. The last thing Drake needed was for this diss to keep gaining momentum. But there was something even bigger at stake. If Kendrick performed Not Like Us at the Super Bowl, that would be a whole new level of public humiliation. The Super Bowl halftime show is a cultural event, watched by millions worldwide. It's a moment where artists make their mark on history. For Kendrick to take the stage and perform Not Like Us, a song that painted Drake in such a harsh light, would not only be a direct attack on him in front of the whole world, but also a victory lap for Kendrick. Drake couldn't afford to let that happen. Drake is no ordinary artist, he's a businessman. He's built an empire and is connected with some of the most powerful executives in the industry. If he couldn't beat Kendrick on the track, he'd take his battle to the boardroom. And that's exactly what he did. Reports started surfacing that Drake and his team were actively pushing to block Kendrick from performing Not Like Us at the Super Bowl halftime show. This wasn't just about music anymore, it was about controlling the narrative, making sure the performance didn't become a public spectacle that would only fuel Kendrick's cultural dominance. The power struggle? Music industry politics. This is where things get even deeper. The music industry isn't just about talent. It's a battlefield where power, influence, and money dictate the rules. And in a battle this big, it's not just about two rappers exchanging diss tracks. It's about the labels, the executives, the sponsorships, and the corporate giants that control the game from behind the scenes. Drake isn't just an artist. He's a powerhouse with deep ties in the industry. He's signed to Universal Music Group, UMG, the biggest label in the world, and has built a network that spans some of the most influential executives in music, media, and entertainment. With that kind of backing, he can pull strings behind closed doors in ways that most artists can't. The NFL, the Super Bowl, and its halftime show are all heavily influenced by corporate sponsorships and industry politics. If Drake wanted to stop Not Like Us from being performed, he had multiple avenues to make that happen. Could he use his connections at UMG to pressure the NFL? Could he leverage sponsorship deals to create a financial threat? Would brands that partner with him be willing to apply pressure to avoid controversy? These aren't just theories. They're real possibilities in a business where money talks. But Kendrick? He's no industry puppet. He's not just another rapper. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning artist with an unwavering fan base and deep respect within the culture. His influence transcends the industry in ways that make him difficult to silence. And if Drake tried to block the performance, would it actually work, or would it backfire completely? In today's internet-driven world, a move like that could be seen as an attempt to censor artistic expression, turning the public even further against him. If Kendrick fought back, the backlash against Drake could be even worse than the diss track itself. Super Bowl drama: can Kendrick be stopped? The Super Bowl halftime show is more than just a performance. It's a defining moment in an artist's career. It's a stage where legends are made, where cultural milestones are set, and where the world stops to watch. For Kendrick, performing Not Like Us in front of millions wouldn't just be another show. It would be the ultimate exclamation point on his dominance in this feud. Imagine the crowd erupting, social media going into a frenzy, and the entire world watching as he delivers the most brutal diss track of the decade on the biggest stage possible. It wouldn't just be a win. It would be a statement that would live on in hip-hop history. But could Drake actually stop it? Legally, he doesn't have direct control over what Kendrick performs. Artists generally have the freedom to choose their set lists. However, the NFL, its sponsors, and the network broadcasting the event all have significant influence over what gets performed. If enough pressure were applied behind the scenes, whether from executives, brands, or powerful industry figures, it's possible that Not Like Us could be removed from the show. There are ways to justify it too. The NFL could claim they want to avoid controversy. Sponsors might say it's not brand-friendly, or the network could worry about backlash. But here's the catch. If that happened, the internet would explode. Fans would call it censorship, conspiracy theories would run wild, and Kendrick would still come out looking like the winner. In today's digital age, trying to silence an artist only makes their message louder. If Not Like Us was banned from the Super Bowl, Kendrick could turn it into an even bigger moment, whether through social media, interviews, or even performing the song elsewhere the same night. No matter what, Drake would still have to deal with the fact that the culture had already picked a side. The long-term impact on Drake's brand. While this moment may be monumental for Kendrick, there are long-term consequences for Drake too. This isn't just a fleeting drama, it's an image-defining situation. How Drake handles this dispute could have lasting effects on his brand and public perception. Drake has built a reputation as a successful businessman. cultural icon, and global superstar. But by attempting to block Kendrick, Drake could risk undermining that image. If he's seen as stifling creativity or using his power to suppress artistic freedom, it could damage his carefully cultivated brand. In an era where artists are reclaiming control, Drake could be viewed as someone trying to maintain dominance at the expense of artistic integrity. This could spark debates about power dynamics in the industry, whether artists or corporations should control the narrative. If Drake's actions suggest he's trying to silence Kendrick, it would create a narrative of him fearing competition or lacking confidence in his artistry. If Drake loses in the court of public opinion, it could alienate his fans. Hip-hop fans value authenticity, and if Drake is seen as someone who suppresses another artist's shine, it could leave a lasting stain on his legacy. Ultimately, this battle represents more than just a feud. It's about who stands for something greater, who fights for artistic freedom, and who is willing to take a stand for the future of hip-hop. Public response and internet reactions. If there's one thing we know, it's that the internet loves drama. The moment rumors spread that Drake was trying to block Kendrick's performance, social media went wild. Memes flooded Twitter. Fans called it a desperate move. Some even started comparing it to when Meek Mill tried to take on Drake and failed. But this time, Drake wasn't the one with the upper hand. The public was overwhelmingly on Kendrick's side. The phrase "let him perform" started trending. Celebrities chimed in. The energy was undeniable. People wanted to see Not Like Us on the biggest stage. Hip-hop forums exploded with debates. Was Drake playing himself by trying to shut Kendrick down? Was this proof that he couldn't handle a real challenge? Some fans defended Drake, saying he was protecting his brand, while others argued that it only made him look weak. The sheer volume of discussion was insane. YouTube breakdowns, TikTok analysis, and Twitter threads dissecting every angle of the situation. Even sports analysts got involved, speculating on whether the NFL would bow to industry pressure or let the performance go on as planned. The controversy only made Not Like Us more powerful. Streams skyrocketed. Radio stations played it more. It became more than just a diss track. It was now a movement. And as the Super Bowl approached, the world waited to see if Kendrick would get the last laugh. The bigger picture, what this means for hip-hop. This isn't just about two rappers beefing. This is about the changing tides in hip-hop. For years, Drake was seen as untouchable, the biggest artist in the game. But now, Kendrick has shaken that foundation. If he performs Not Like Us at the Super Bowl, it's not just a win for him, it's a shift in power, and the industry is watching closely. If Kendrick pulls this off, it could change how artists approach beefs, industry politics, and even legal battles. It could set a precedent that no artist, no matter how powerful, can silence another. Beyond just rap battles, this moment represents something bigger, the fight for artistic freedom. In an industry where corporate and label executives often dictate what's acceptable, Kendrick's defiance could inspire a new wave of independence. More artists might push back against label pressure, demand control over their narratives, and refuse to be silenced by industry politics. Additionally, the conversation around authenticity in hip-hop is more relevant than ever. Fans are seeing this as a test of who really runs the culture, the artists or the corporations. If Kendrick wins this battle, it could embolden other rappers to challenge industry giants, setting the stage for a new era in hip-hop where talent and impact matter more than industry connections. What's next? So what happens now? Will Kendrick actually perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl? Will Drake go through with a lawsuit? Or will he take another approach, maybe dropping music of his own to shift the narrative? One thing is for sure, this story is far from over. The hip-hop world is watching, the industry is shifting, and no matter what happens next, one thing is clear, this isn't just about rap anymore. This is a battle of power, influence, and legacy. What do you think? Should Kendrick be allowed to perform Not Like Us at the Super Bowl? Is Drake's reaction justified, or is he taking it too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you want to stay updated on the latest hip-hop news and industry drama, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. Until next time, stay tuned, because this story is just...
I know everybody's seen the logo at the bottom of the screen on the front page. That's right, baby. Alky Water. Now y'all can scan that QR code and make sure y'all test some of the crispness water out there, man. Tell them the front page sent you, and it's how we keep everybody freshly hydrated on the show, baby. Alky.